our project, which is the Nationwide Museum Mascot Project. We mascot art museums, whether invited or not. We talk about, the question is, is a social practice, oftentimes you ask that question, right, Ryan?
If it
really intersects social practice, or if it's really what we're doing, and what is it?
Yeah.
You want to?
Well, it totally. Ed, I was talking to Ed about this the other day, and he said that absolutely what we do is social practice and museum engagement and all that, and I think it is. But again, it comes back whether I'm doing a museum show or the Mascot Project or something else. I don't think I'm interested in something that's energetic, and I think that human beings, when we're doing something together or having activities, whatever that looks like, to me is that energy is a lot more energetic than any particular art object, whether it's a painting or sculpture. So I get excited about that because I value that kind of energy, even though it's very temporal, over an art object. You pour energy into some object, whether it's a painting or a sculpture or whatever it is, and that has some sort of energy, and it's very cool, and I'm the first to admit I like going to museums. But ultimately, playing catch with a dog or having a conversation with somebody is more energetic and more, amazing. The only problem is people don't really notice that it's amazing, and it's temporary and it goes away.
When you say people don't really
generally notice, people don't.
Are you referring to people that understand contemporary art, other artists?
No,
curators?
Just the world.
You're just okay. So general speak.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
They don't. Yeah. People don't weep over stuff in a burning building that was burned up. They weep if a baby dies or something, and people are more valuable. It's just that we don't last as long as stuff in the museum. So. I know this is an odd way to talk about social practice, but it's I'll stop. You go ahead.
No, well, I also think when you're talking about it doesn't last as long in a museum, oftentimes, performative work in general tends to be kind of pushed in terms of, the opening act. This is the opening night, and then it doesn't happen again. It doesn't exist after that fact, and I think oftentimes, our project is a perfect example of that when, for example, the Nationwide Museum Mascot Project was the official mascot for the California Biennial in 2010, and we did have a related physical object component to it, but the actual mascotting, for example, when the show was reviewed, wasn't happening, and the joke was, or Brian and I actually had asked when, was it Doug Harvey?
Yeah.
When he decided to go to the museum, and he chose to go on a day that the museum was closed. Of course, the objects were there. The paintings were on the walls. The installations were intact. He walked into the museum and began to review. And we said, well, we're a part of the show, but we don't exist when the museum's closed and when the regular daily activities aren't happening, or we maybe only exist once a week. And so we had asked if we could come in and kind of be there and wave to and greet Doug. It was Doug Harvey, right?
Yeah.
When he entered, and someone said, "Oh, sure. I don't see why that would be a problem." And then all of a sudden, the press coordinator kind of reneged on that and said, "Oh, no, it wouldn't be appropriate for you guys to be there." So there was just some internal fight about whether or not we should be there or not. And I think what ended up happening is we didn't exist in that moment, but as he was coming out of his car, we were sort of walking away from the museum because we were directed to not really be involved in that way.
Wearing the mascot costume.
But we happened to kind of be wearing it, and I think we waved.
We were waving to traffic. We were waving to the cars.
Yeah, so because we make these homemade-looking mascots, and
in this case, it was a pinata Scott that we commissioned from Pinata World in El Monte. It was a great pinata. It was, like 6 or 7 feet tall, and they made it. It was cheap. It was like $40. The guy was great. But anyway, sorry.
What form was it?
Huh?
What shape? What?
Well, Orange
item?
County.
Like a game. Think of like a game, like a little game piece, like kind of maybe the game of
Like a
life.
chess
It had
piece.
yeah, it had like a knob for a head, and then like a bell for a body,
Yeah.
and then there were eyes on it. But it was a piñata, and you stuck it on you, and your arms went through, and your feet showed at the bottom. But anyways, that's what really came to mind in terms of when Ryan talked about not really existing
Right.
past a certain point, and that, I mean, that's a problem, and I think for many types of social practices. But it's funny because I suppose most people would define what we do as social practice, but I think, Brian's drawing it for you.
Yeah, okay.
We always talk about how, we question if even what we're doing is social practice. And again, always the question is, what is social practice? Oh, he's showing.
Oh, I see.
Except it's furry.
It is furry.